Y'all remember this?
You dated black guys.
Loved black guys. Yeah. I did. But for me, dark meat on the side, white keeps me mean and lean. You know, that's why I married white man. That's what I like.
Hold up. What do you mean, dark meat on the side?
Let's talk about it. What is up, fam? Skadam, it is your man, Mr. ReAktion, right here in the flesh. And of course, I'm handing you that breath. And of course, we're reacting on another episode of ReAktion. I was today years old when I found out that Jeezy, the good brother young Jeezy that we grew up listening to, filed for divorce from Jeannie Mai. You would say, you know, well, Jay, why are you talking about this? Typically, I don't like to go to the places where everybody else is going. Everybody's talking about the same stuff, but I talk to things that are relevant to my talking points, things that I think we need to discuss, things I think we need to talk about, and this may be one of them. So I thought this was extremely interesting, right? You know, a man, typically, generally speaking, the man does not file for divorce. Generally speaking, it is the woman in most cases. Now, there are rarities. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rule, and this is an exception. But the curious question to me is why? I didn't want to talk about this at first, but I said, you know, why? And I may have some insight as to why. But let's listen to what Jeannie Mai had to say. Again, in case y'all forgot, this was about 7, 8 years ago. Let's listen to exactly what she had to say about her experience with black men and how she feels about black men, and prior to, obviously, her relationship with young Jeezy. Let's look at it.
Dated black guys.
Loved black guys. Yeah. I did. But for me, dark meat on the side, white keeps me mean and lean. You know, that's why I married white man. That's what I like.
Hold up.
Keeps her mean and lean.
Because she lightweight offensive. I am
I'm saying, like, I really do think black men are attractive. I do. Like, that's my...
Well, what do you mean, dark meat on the side?
That means, honey.
You
know what that means.
Wait, what are you reading it as?
How did you say it?
I'm just saying, like, when I think about men, I like dark men. I do.
Right, you like your main man to be white and your side piece
to be dark. That is not what I mean.
Jeannie, explain what you mean.
Okay, what I meant is, like, I used to date black men, okay? And I think they're attractive. But what I decided to stick to, because it just kept me happiest, was my man Freddie, who happens to be white.
Are you sure?
Yes!
Okay. I dated an Asian man once.
You did?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
How did that go, Lonnie?
Yeah, because he had a Chinese restaurant. That's why I dated him. I had all the free beef and broccoli.
So basically, to break it down what she said here, right? What she said right here now is that basically she could have a world of fun, bust that thing open, tear that thing down on a Friday night, hell, on a Sunday night, on a Sunday afternoon after church, after brunch. You can bust that thing open if you're a brother, but you can't put a ring on it. Then, guess what? She found herself in the presence of a high-value man, young Jeezy. And she said, hey, well, you know what? The way this dude talk is like no other. The way this dude acts and reacts is like no other. The way he moves through the world is unfazed like no other. What have I been doing all these years? Not messing with the melanated, not rocking with the melanated, only relegating the melanated to the side. That's essentially what she's saying. But what she's also saying is that, culturally speaking, she can't bring no brother home. She ain't bringing no brother home because it's not culturally accepted. But guess what? When she doing them sheets, that's another thing. And then, magically, 7, 8, 9 years later, here she is with Jeezy, divorced. Now, why is that, you might ask? Now, I have my beliefs, and you know what? Let's just start with what I believe. I've been in a number of situations, right, with women of virtually every culture. If you can name the culture, I've been involved with a woman of that culture. And so, generally speaking, my experience with other women of other cultures have been great. And I mean women of different races. What I will say is this. There's always that 3 or 4 situations that really stick out. I've been in situations where not the young lady, but the young lady's family didn't respect me. And this has happened, I mean, a handful of times. Maybe not every single time. And like I said, generally speaking, my experience with women of other race, their families have been, you know, a joy, or been nice, or been accepting, been inviting, and things like that. But there are those occasions where those women's family have been way too involved, way too judgmental, and I felt the long arm of racism and prejudice and bigotry. Was this Jeezy's reality? Also, women are so close to their family and their friends. If their family and their friends group aren't accepting of you, it's going to be a little bit harder for them to be accepting of you. Now, I understand that we all have cultural differences. You know, somebody said in the comment, they said maybe Jeezy he ain't want no more fried rice, he wanted some fried chicken. That was funny. I think most people are most comfortable with people within their own culture. And so when you dive outside of your culture, sometimes you may risk culture shock. And possibly what Jeezy had was culture shock. And maybe what Jeannie had was culture shock. I do think it is interesting. I do think it is an interesting dynamic when you talk about race and culture and things like that. Because, you know, when you marry somebody or when you're with someone for an extended period of time, you with their family. And so sometimes it can be tough when their family doesn't rock with you. Sometimes it can be challenging when their family doesn't accept you because of the color of your skin or because you're outside of their culture. You know, if they're speaking one language at the family barbecue and you like, what's everybody saying? You know, that could cause a divide. I do think it is particularly interesting that this brother filed for the divorce versus her filing for the divorce. What's interesting is I think Jeannie Mai would have stayed. I think she would have stayed. But I just don't think the brother Jeezy was that interested. I don't think he was that interested. Maybe he wanted fried chicken instead of fried rice. I mean, who knows? But it is particularly interesting, a man leaving his marriage versus the woman filing for the divorce. For all those who's never dated outside their race, it is a extremely interesting situation to be in because you don't know who the family is going to be. You don't know if they're going to respect you. You don't know if they're going to accept you. One of the number one things that a man wants is respect. You don't have to accept me, but you have to respect me. And I think men, for the most part, and the men that I've met, the fathers that I've met, of women I've been involved with, I think they've been generally respectful. Even if they didn't like me, even if they didn't like the color of my skin, they for the most part, they've respected me. Interestingly enough, it's been the women who don't have that same respect. Plot twist, we don't know. All of this is speculative. This is very much, these are very much opinions. These aren't facts. They're not rumors. I'm just speaking my thoughts. It's just my thoughts, man. Right or wrong, I don't know. Okay, it makes sense now. It makes sense now. I get it. So, Jeannie is a hothead.
For example, I have a really hot temper. Not a lot of people know this, but it's just something in my family. I've seen it in my grandmother. Saw it in my grandfather, to my grandmother, to my mom, to my aunts, to me, right? But I didn't notice it in myself until I was with Jeezy.
Interesting. You didn't notice in your previous marriage?
No, because it has to do with the type of relationship you have and the type of respect you have for that person to mirror things back to you where you actually would stop you in your tracks and evaluate yourself, you know?
So you had it.
So I
you
had
didn't
it, but
acknowledge it as a problem.
nobody ever called me out on it. Also, in my line of work, sometimes being a boss isn't so great for you because you have a lot of people who just agree to what you want. They're yes men, right? And so I didn't notice that I had a hot temper until I got with Jeezy. And here's a person who is my equal and I really respect. And when I would spew some of my...
Okay, so it makes perfect sense now. So Jeannie Mai was a hothead. Young Jeezy ain't putting up with that. You think Young Jeezy putting up with that? Fellas, don't mess with no woman who has a temper. If she is mild-mannered, she is worthy. If she has a temper, trust and believe and know that it will surface somewhere within your relationship. Be careful. Young Jeezy might have, hey, listen, Young Jeezy, I think he may have did the smart thing. But didn't you know, prior to saying your vows, didn't you know that, like, this was her? I'm gonna go ahead and grant Jeezy a little grace because a woman with a temper is not it. A woman with a temper is not it. Not in the same household as you. No. No, sir. So, yeah, this makes sense. Jeannie Mai, 2 failed marriages, and she's a hothead. Yo, shout out to Jeezy for filing that prenup, and also shout out to Jeezy for filing for joint custody. That's, yeah. You know, I gotta hold my brother accountable, man. You know, he made a commitment, he broke it. I am not the person who is for divorce. I'm just not. I believe that if you make a commitment, you should adhere to it. You know what I'm saying? I'm big on discipline. I'm big on consistency. And I'm big on committing to things that make yourself greater. You know, and I do think marriage is an institution that make a man greater. You know, that makes one greater. I'm sure he did what's best for him, but he definitely didn't do what is in the best interest of that little girl. But, you know, all of y'all are saying, well, they can co-parent, they can do this. Listen, the studies show that children that grow up in a household without a father are statistically at a disadvantage, at a higher disadvantage than people who grow up with both parents. So let's knock it off. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it real. You know, let's understand that, hey, look, it's not always about you. Take the you out of it. Put the kids at the forefront. But he had a choice, and we all had a choice. Just like Jenny had a choice, Jeezy had a choice. You know, he had a choice in the partner that he picked. You know, he's a man of stature, you know what I mean? A man of value in a sense. And so he could choose, you know, whoever he chooses to choose, you know, but he chose to choose this. Had I seen her interview all those years ago, and then let's say I bumped into her at the club or I bumped into her at an event and we started talking and, you know, we started to vibe, I wouldn't have let that situation go past a certain place. That's just me personally, just because of the things that she said. The things that she said, you know, they don't align with the things that I want. You know, I don't want a woman who thinks like that. And I get it, people can change. That was 8, maybe 9 years ago when she said that. You know, people can change. I'm just saying, that's me. I would have never done it. But anyway, my people, I'm ReAktion. This is unfortunate for these individuals, and unfortunate for that baby girl, that they have to, you know, part ways. But, you know, I hope they find some sort of balance. But anyway, my people, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Go ahead, drop it in the comment section. Make sure you guys can subscribe, like the video. My people, I'm ReAktion. Stay sturdy and always, always love.